strange world, hoping I could.
These Chinese individuals are celebrating the release of the Huawei Mate 60 Pro smartphone in various ways.
加油 China. It's not until you fall down you feel like.
Huawei, which has been under US sanctions for years, pointedly released the phone during Gina Raimondo's recent visit to Beijing. The Chinese domestic public opinion immediately drew the conclusion that Huawei is unfazed by US pressure and is making a strong comeback in the 5G smartphone industry. This sparked a new wave of patriotic enthusiasm. The Huawei Mate 60 powered by a cutting-edge new chip. This chip tells a story that embodies the ongoing geopolitical rivalry between the US and China. Chinese official media and some netizens are hailing the Huawei Mate 60 Pro as a symbol of breaking through Western chip technology export restrictions and countering US pressure. However, some analysts believe that the enthusiastic response from Chinese official media and the mocking of the effectiveness of US sanctions serve the actual purpose of hoping to make the United States question its own export control practices and eventually abandon its sanctions against Chinese technology companies. Starting in 2019, due to a series of sanctions and export controls in the United States, Huawei could only produce a limited batch of 5G smartphones using existing chip stocks. The US also cut off Huawei and its affiliated partners access to chip manufacturing tools. As a result, starting from July 2021, Huawei's P50 series of smartphones were even forced to revert to 4G technology. But now, the analysis of the chip inside the Mate 60 Pro, commissioned by Bloomberg News and conducted by Tech Insights, has generated nationalistic pride in China. It underscores the country's capability to produce advanced semiconductor chips. Despite US-imposed restrictions, Chinese social media users taunted the visiting US Commerce Secretary by creating mock-ups of Raimondo endorsing Huawei's phone. The hashtag take a photo of Raimondo with Huawei Mate 60 Pro trended on Weibo following the phone's launch, garnering over 290 million views. Huawei Mate 60 Pro, powered by SMIC's Kirin 9000's chip, is being hailed as a game-changer. Tech Insights analysis reveals that the Kirin 9000's chip is a second-generation 7nm chip, priced at 7,000 yuan. Huawei sold as many as 800,000 units in the first 5 days, demonstrating considerable enthusiasm for the phone. Current estimates suggest Huawei might sell up to 20 million Mate 60 series phones, generating widespread interest. The details of how SMIC managed to produce 7nm chips despite severe US-imposed restrictions are still shrouded in mystery. The success of Huawei's phone launch is being dubbed as a challenge to the US's strategic objective of slowing down China's economic growth. Advanced chips, especially those below 14 nm, hold the key to determining who gains the upper hand in the field of geoeconomics. The US introduced the CHIPS, creating helpful incentives to produce semiconductors, and Science Act in August 2022, offering advanced semiconductor companies $52.7 billion in subsidies, with the condition that the funds cannot be used to invest in China. In October that year, the US imposed restrictions on semiconductor companies, preventing them from supplying logic chips under 16 nanometers, nm, DRAM chips below 18 nm, and NAND chips with 28 layers or more, without obtaining a license. The US also persuaded the Netherlands to halt the sale of advanced lithography machines, crucial for semiconductor manufacturing, particularly for producing chips as advanced as 5 nm. After these US restrictions, many had speculated that China's semiconductor industry would struggle to recover. The US aimed to limit Chinese access to chips below 14 nm, which were considered at least 8 years behind the cutting-edge 3 nm technology. However, with the breakthrough in 7nm chips, China has demonstrated its ability to address certain challenges related to producing state-of-the-art chips. This advancement positions China 5 years behind the current cutting-edge 3nm level, which the US is keen to keep out of Beijing's reach. While South Korea's Samsung and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company race to develop even smaller nodes of chips at 2 nm, Beijing may not be at the forefront of these cutting-edge technologies, but SMIC's 7nm chip marks a significant stride forward. Huawei proudly presents its new phone. the Mate 60 Pro as a testament to its strategy to rebound from targeted US efforts to hobble its progress. Huawei founder Ren Zhengfei has taken the US's challenges to China's growth seriously. Since the first round of sanctions in 2019, he has emphasized the importance of innovation in keeping Huawei ahead of its competitors in the 5G race. Huawei will save talent, not US dollars, declared Ren in a speech delivered on 28 July. Ren believes in recruiting the best talent to maintain a competitive edge and innovate through the challenges posed by the US. The semiconductor tussle is far from over, as China seeks innovative ways to overcome the rut created by the US to slow down its companies. To circumvent the US sanctions, the Chinese government may provide financial support to those enterprises willing to spare no expense and capable of breaking free from the blockade. Only in this way will the burning sense of national pride increase the foundation of the Chinese government's rule. For now, SMIC and Huawei have demonstrated that the US's national security agenda can be countered through their domestic ecosystem. Now, the ball is back in the Americans' court, and it's time for the Americans to analyze and make new decisions.